Hello guys, welcome to Daddy Share Space and welcome to my channel. So I just did a little video about my Quinn impact sockets and also about my impact wrenches, which I have here, and ratchets, and it just popped in my mind to just go ahead and do a short little video about my Milwaukee 12-volt line and also my Milwaukee Packout set that I bought. It's very expensive for what it is. However, I want to give you a few of my pros and one of my cons about this setup. So first and foremost, I find this long reach 3/8 inch ratchet to be extremely helpful. It's great when you need to get more leverage on whatever it is that you're working on. I didn't know, or I wasn't able to identify how much better this would work out for me as opposed to, let's say, the traditional Milwaukee ratchet, but this extended reach really helps you to be able to do manual pressure with these, because you can use these as a regular socket as well. However, I usually just use it to break the fastener, to break it loose, and then I'll actuate the tool to either pull a bolt out or put one in. So this is very useful. I don't regret buying this at all. I've had no trouble out of it. My most recent purchase was this pass-through ratchet that I got. As you can see, it's got the extended reach, so it's going to give me the same flexibility as this one, but this one has a pass-through feature, so I can push through here and you can see, you can just look through the hole there. And this right here, it's, I guess they call it the insider ratchet. So this is an 18 millimeter. It just pops in and it gives you a narrower profile. So if I was to put an 18 millimeter socket on here, it's going to stick out a bit more than this, so it gives you a little bit more of a low profile. I can also remove this and I can pop in 3 different anvils into this, so I can make this a 1/4 inch, I can make it a 3/8, and I can also make it a 1/2 inch. I'm making my wife's coffee, so excuse the sound. So anyway, so we got this here, and then right here I have my original 3/8 inch ratchet, which has been very helpful. It doesn't give you as much leverage as the long reach, but I still find it to be very helpful. Again, you could use it kind of like a regular ratchet, but it's been very useful for me. And I went ahead and broke down and bought the 1/4 inch because it's so much easier to have multiple ratchets, especially if you're dealing with smaller fasteners. There's not much weight difference between the two, but when you're dealing with the smaller fasteners, it's more convenient to not have to reach for one of those adapters every time when you start talking about pulling out your ratchets. So oftentimes I'll have this one loaded up, obviously, with the 1/4 inch sockets, and then I'll have this one loaded up with the 3/8 inch sockets, and I'll be working on the same job. It just helps for efficiency and flow. And I've actually had all of these in motion at the same time on different occasions. Now this one here, I don't regret buying it because I can change it from a 3/8 to a, well, from a 1/4 inch to a 3/8 to a 1/2 inch. The thing that I'm not super happy with this particular one, and it's just my own personal gripe. If I didn't own all of these, then this would be a game changer, if you will. But I wanted a 1/2 inch in my set, and as opposed to just buying, I don't know if they make a 1/2 inch long reach. They may, but I didn't see it. They do make a 1/2 inch short one. I just bought this as opposed to buying a 1/2 inch in my set. So this one has the versatility of being all of the ratchets if I needed that, but I kind of consider it to be my 1/2 inch ratchet in this set. Now, I see, you can see I have an 18 millimeter in here now, so I don't have the 1/2 inch anvil in there. But one of the things I noticed is sometimes this can be, you know, when you go to pull it out, it can come out when you don't want it to. So I find that to be a little bit annoying, but if I'm working at home and not like, say, a pick and pull, when you're at pick and pull, this could be really annoying because, like I said, if you go to put it on a bolt and it gets stuck, or if you have the anvil in here and you have a socket and you go to pull the socket out and the whole anvil comes out with it, like every time or even every other time, it just makes the workflow not so smooth. So that's one of the downfalls to this one. Now, working at home with it, I don't see the problem because you can kind of relax and take your time and just kind of work through the workflow. It's still an annoyance, but it's just not quite as bad as the pressure I would feel like if I'm at pick and pull, where I feel like time is of the essence and I don't want to have to, every time I pull a socket off of the regular anvil, the whole thing pops out like that. That's just annoying. So anyways, moving on to the actual Packout. Now, I'm happy to say that they eventually came out with a 1/2-inch version of this, and it is like $300 as well. Who knows if I'll buy it in the future. As you can see here, I've got all my standard stuff over here. You've got your regular standard sockets, and then you have your deep sockets, and then over here you have your metric, the same setup. You've got a couple of the swivels here, and then you've got an assortment of extensions. This particular one is the 1/4 inch and the 3/8, which gives you obviously the 1/4 inch ratchet, and then finally the 3/8 inch ratchet. And I don't know, I guess you have to have pretty small fingers. Like if you're trying to get this 3/8 out, it's not easy. You have to take the 1/4 inch out to get that out. So that's just something to note. Now all this pops out, all of these different segments. So like if you just want to take the metric with you, or if you just want to take the standard with you, that's, you know, that works out fine. Now, will I upgrade and get the 1/2 inch? I would like to, but that's more of a luxury as opposed to a necessity, because I do have some 1/2 inch sockets in the shop and some 1/2 inch wrenches, but I don't use them as often as I use the 1/4 inch and the 3/8. Now, the only drawback that I have to this, there's two. One of them is the price. It's super expensive. And at this price, the other thing that makes it very kind of a tough sell for someone like me, even though I already bought it, is the fact that right here, you can see in my 1/4 inch, I have this red, I guess this is, what is this, 9mm? Yeah, 9mm socket in here. And you can look at the Milwaukee build. They have this kind of a square design at the bottom. That's so your sockets don't roll away when they fall and hit the ground. They just kind of stay wherever they fall for the most part, unless they bounce. Somewhere, somehow, I have misplaced the 9mm. Now, I pray that it's somewhere here in the shop. I can't guarantee that it is, but I pray that it is. And that's my only drawback to this. If you don't have the ability to buy the individual sockets, their sockets are very expensive, then if you lose anything like I did, unfortunately, then you're gonna have this kind of Frankenstein set. And for me, my OCD, I don't like that, but it is what it is. And matter of fact, I'm missing two. I'm missing the 11, and I'm also missing the 9. So I just have some cheap Harbor Freight ones in there for now. Like I said, I hope at some point in time, if I ever get my shop organized, that I'll be able to find these and make this set whole. Now you can buy just this set and obviously replace this. However, that's going to come at a nice cost. I'm pretty sure it's probably well over $100 just to buy the 1/4 inch set. And you could buy it in two versions. You can buy it in the Packout version, which is going to be more expensive, or you could buy it in just a regular kind of like case similar to this Quinn, but it's smaller. Obviously you could buy their 1/2 inch, you can buy their 3/8 and 1/4 inch in that type of set configuration. But then once you take the socket out of that one to put it in here, then that one's incomplete. So, you know, there again, you know, my personal OCD in full effect there. So anyways, other than that, this has been very helpful, very handy. It does have a nice amount of weight to it, but I just like the way that it's all laid out there for you, so you can do whatever you need to do and just kind of grab one, put it back. I don't even have an excuse as to why I lost these. I mean, I probably pulled it out to do some random job around the house and just it never got back in here. Anyways, guys, I want to thank you for taking time to watch this short video, and I'll see you in my next one. Take care.